the finale of The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Our brave heroes were able to free Zablina from being frozen in time, um, defeat the hags that were ruling over Prismere, and as a reward, Zablina, who you discovered is actually the Witch Queen Igwilv in a kind of an archfey persona, aka Tasha. She gave you one wish for rescuing her, but most of you just were kind of happy, either returning home or living your life in the Feywild, or in some cases staying in the Palace of Heart's Desire as a advisory role. I wasn't quite sure what Gray wanted to do, but that's what we're going to figure out today. Go in a little more detail about what your characters kind of got up to, because we're going to fast forward 8 years later when the Witchlight Carnival is back in the world of Faerun. Faerun.
And for everybody at home expecting some amazing sort of closure and things, we learned about this about 4 hours ago.
So... Yeah, so me too. I was say, hey, it might be fun to do a little epilogue. But it is 8 years later, either in real time or Feywild time.
Okay, sorry. Ugh, had to get my Wendy's.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
We got a huge
classic
snowstorm.
Aster.
I know.
Come on, Aster. I can't wait all day for your. Can't wait all day for your
my
food.
fantasy Wendy's.
Yeah. So when we left everyone in the finale, Aster was back in the carnival. So was Pimner. Do you think that's where they are now?
How 8 years later?
8 years later, because the carnival comes to Karen's homeworld every 8 years.
No, probably not after 8 years. Assuming Aster and Kal'zi. I don't know. Actually, you know what? It depends entirely on Mark.
I assume that Kal'zi and Aster had children.
Aww.
Like weird Feywild children, because the whole male thing doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what? Realistically, maybe we adopted some of the lost boys that didn't want to go home.
Oh. Yeah. No. In that case, I feel like it would be like they're visiting. I'd like to think that Aster still has like the ability to go back.
Yeah.
Anytime he wants.
So in this case,
but he's probably quit after 8 years.
Yeah.
You know.
So you and Kal'zi, because the idea is that you're all reuniting after 8 years after not seeing each other. So you all arrive, or Aster and Callie, not at the carnival anymore, will arrive. How about Karen? I assume that she's still around.
I think it's like just same old, same old. Like it's just like, just kept going. Maybe like, I really like that twist at the end where she ends up actually as like the lunch lady at the school.
She peaked in high school.
She peaked in high school for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's quite. If there was like any sort of like competition type things that happened like locally of like. Oh, potentially now she might be winning some of the food-based things because she has her sense of taste back.
Oh, she gets like really good at it.
Yeah, potentially because she can taste it now, so it affects her negatively when it tastes bad. So she got good at it, so that way she can eat good food for herself. And so
is
that
your
way,
new rage trigger just like eating something that tastes horrible?
maybe like is she so sensitive to it now?
Yeah.
The steak, I said it was rare. Send this back.
What about Pimner?
I think Pimner's still going to be at the fair. She thinks it's pretty neat, as far as my understanding of it, because a lot of her friends are there. And then because the thing I got was a like a scroll of plane shift, so then she could go visit her family when she wanted to. But my understanding is that she could also visit her friends. when she wanted to, so she could have went and visited Aster and Kal'zi if they're a couple, or Gray, whatever they were doing. So they wouldn't have felt like they needed to leave because they could leave whenever she wanted. And also I think she genuinely does enjoy making other people happy, and now that she understands what it feels like to feel at home, she can also help other people feel that way.
Okay.
While they're at the carnival.
We'll go back to Kal'zi and Aster. Like the kids that were trapped there, all got returned home. So like, you just think
We took care of them before they finally,
Yeah.
like, last couple of days they were there. They just
Yeah.
needed some supervision. To be
But,
like,
like-
okay,
Will.
so this is how the
Or-
real world works. Because
Adopt
you've been
Will.
trapped here for decades.
Will wouldn't have gone anywhere. You could have adopted him.
Will is an adult.
yeah, Will's is
Oh,
like
your
a
family
demon.
is weird enough. Just make it weirder.
Like, do I have to
Hey.
keep pretending I'm a kid? It's like, yes, you're forever
Yes.
11 years old.
Well, that sounds
Now
like
go to your
encouragement
room.
to me.
I didn't do anything.
I'm a full-grown adult, but my parents keep thinking of me as a kid. So
I don't know if you're saying that as Bun or as Gray.
I think that's just how parents work.
yeah,
Yes.
essentially.
Well, Gray, what are they up to?
They basically volunteered to help restore normality to Prismere because there was a lot to do, and like half the castle was destroyed and such. And eventually ended up going back to their family as well.
Well, turns out kind of the same as a couple weeks ago. So, if you guys would like to RP a little bit, we can. But it seems like we're kind of in agreement about like where everyone kind of ended up.
I want
they
to say
could
that if Kal'zi is coming to the carnival, he's probably got like a dad fanny pack on.
Oh my god.
And now I want everybody at home to imagine, how would a horse wear a fanny
Fanny
pack?
pack. Where does
Be
it
around
go?
his human waist.
Are you sure?
Yes, because otherwise it's a saddlebag.
I have this image of you've just adopted like 8 kids of like all sorts of species. Like you have a centaur one, you have a satyr, but then you also have like an orc and like a fairy.
I was thinking we show up with like an illusionary centaur satyr that looks like both of us, but they're just the weird people out and be like, just kidding, it's illusion.
It's like we're not real.
It's basically the father from the second Muppet movie that's basically a combination of Kermit and Fozzie.
Oh, yeah.
That's what our kid is.
Is who's the fun parent?
Aster.
Kal'zi's gonna be the one that's just worried that that their kids are gonna fall over and like break their arm just by running around.
It's like
But any daughter's going to be happy because she gets a pony.
I want a pony for Christmas. Look at your father, please. What do you think he is?
speaking of ponies, one thing that we forgot about,
Yeah.
which I don't blame you, as long it was
Oh
at the
shit,
very beginning.
Diane.
But we had poor Diana,
Diana Cloppington.
Oh,
who one of the hags combined her and her horse.
whoops.
Did they just separate after we killed the hags? I mean,
Well,
I guess they didn't finish killing the hags.
the hag that cursed her was never killed, and even if
Oh, God.
even if they were,
Just nobody tell her we were close enough to do that, and she won't know.
I was like, Joey, can we retcon? And one of us was just like, oh, Diana Cloppington, let's save her.
Sure. She's now a person with a
Diana
very beautiful
and
horse.
Cloppington.
Yeah, she has a different last name now.
What if her personality was the horse
Oh
when
my
she was Cloppington? We weren't actually talking to Diana; we were talking to the horse.
Yep,
That's weird.
it is weird.
That's weird.
Well, I want to go to the Calliope. Calliope.
Calliope.
Calliope.
Hey, I did a painting of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the little goblin nearby.
I'd also like to point out Aster rocks up in a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Is he on vacation?
Uh-huh.
It's like sunglasses.
Yep, he's got sunglasses, he's got the little bit of sunblock
Aster,
on
will
the
you
tip of his...
please? You don't have to wear the hula.
Oh, no, I do. It,
I,
it really completes the outfit.
it's 47 degrees out here.
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
What?
Calvin. Gotcha.
Kelvin isn't degrees, Jess. God.
And Kal'zi, that's my Calvin is my brother.
That
He wouldn't stop hitting on you.
was a bit weird.
Weird. Worst failure union ever.
Sorry.
Some things you notice as you walk around the carnival. Dralagrim, still the lost and found, but now has kind of an adolescent star kind of helping out.
Oh,
Cute.
you got pimples.
Got pimples, yeah. Still has the silver ball that likes to keep around.
A little duller now. It's been a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
You know, I never did anything with this frog spine book with a vial of a mysterious liquid inside. I should probably get rid of it. It's been 8 years.
Yeah.
What? Jesus.
Oh yeah, it was possibly a booby trap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have given
I was going to throw it at one of the hags. I never got the chance.
would have given you a mummy rot.
Oh, no. I'm going to look up what that does and feel bad.
I still have a gem with a water elemental in it, and I just have that just in case now.
Well, that's good.
I still have 95 handkerchiefs.
I think I still have pixie dust too. Oh, I never used it.
I still have, I think I still have a cockroach lollipop.
8 years old, delicious.
I can steal people's shadows.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, you had those scissors still?
Yeah, I still have the scissors.
Yeah. But Burley and Hurley still working kind of security. Well, mostly Hurley these days. Burley has taken up more of an intellectual side of himself. He's kind of like exploring that more. He's putting on like Shakespeare-esque plays now, like near the food court, doing entertainment.
Acting.
He's acting, reciting
I'm at
poetry.
the theater.
Reciting poetry. Like I'm really decided to give him a few acting lessons, so you can combine these two things and kind of make a show out of it. Hurley uses his acting ability to have like a duo going on now.
His acting ability.
Yeah.
They got an Abbas Costello routine going on, like, hey, who's in the Feywild? Exactly, third base.
Still
I'm
has
working on the act. It's not very good.
still has the pumpkin head. Well, Falisha and Candlefoot, remember them?
Mm-hmm.
They fell in love.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Think they made that work?
I hope so.
Yeah. Some half mermaid, half mime babies.
I like how mime is a race.
Yeah. No, it's species.
Species.
Sorry, species.
Is there any of the things that we didn't do? I think did we not do snail racing?
Never did snail racing.
We can do snail racing.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up if you want to do it.
I go up to the snail racing and I'll be like, wait a second, these are the same ones from 8 years
wait,
ago.
wait a
They're
minute.
not done racing yet.
None of you bought tickets. Oh no!
It all starts again.
Not again.
Oh no! They're gonna steal everything. Now
This
these
time I
days,
was
if you
playing
don't
Satyr.
come in with tickets, since the hags will not steal from you, you get a little slap on the wrist. But they make sure you pay.
Hey, I worked here.
Yeah, you get lifelong tickets.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Half off at the
Season
pie
pass.
stand.
Lifetime
Fast
pass.
pass.
Yep.
That was your wish. I want a lifetime membership
Yeah.
to the Witchlight Carnival.
The place I used to work.
Yeah. I don't want to wait in any lines.
That's
Fast pass.
hilarious.
But no, yeah. What happens at the snail racing? I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Come on, everybody. You don't have to wait around at the entrance. You can come on in.
Oh, Pimner, thank you for letting us in.
Oh shit! Wait, is that you guys over there?
What? Like,
Hello.
what? What? What?
You alright?
You're on repeat.
How many kids?
All the kids are
Oh,
just right.
oh.
do you have there? That's so many children.
It's like
8
I've
or
not lost-
12 or
I've
27.
not lost the weight.
he's
I've not lost the weight.
he's like 18 tickets, please.
8, 12, or 27. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So centaurs have litters.
All of them are on Kal'zi's back with those little little baby leashes on them.
Oh, 100%. All their kids
Hanging
have
like
baby leashes.
underneath, like a possum kind of thing.
God, now I want a kangaroo race that just has a pouch.
Oh,
But you have that one kind of shy kid who's just always hanging onto your leg.
mhm.
Yeah.
All four
Daddy,
of
I'm tired. Fine, you can ride me.
them. Yay! She's also a centaur.
Yeah, the sitting is really weird.
As soon as we walk through the line past the ticket booth, Aster's like, "Be free!" The kids all just running to different areas.
I guess everyone here can help out. Take care of those kids. Oh, I guess
We'll fight
there's
them at the
somebody
lost-
else's problem right now, huh?
We'll fight him at the lost property. I trust you guys.
There's already 3 of them floating through the air in bubbles.
They're my kids. They'll be fine.
I mean, the ones that we can... yeah, sure, fine. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, have you ever taken a kid to a carnival? You're never seeing them again.
No, they'll...
That was the idea. Sorry.
We told them to go directly to the Hall of Mirrors.
Look for little girl in the pig mask.
Yeah.
She's so much fun.
Oh, this place hasn't changed one bit since the 2 times I've been here. Wow.
You would think there'd be a bit of an upgrade or something since that whole
Yeah.
big to-do that we did.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Calliope is still saying the same sound. There's the horseshoe toss. They moved it over here.
Well, it's a bit awkward now, isn't it?
I mean, I need all my horseshoes now, so yeah.
Okay, you guys want snail race?
Yeah.
Let's go check
Okay.
out the snail race.
We're gonna go. Okay.
Come on, Pim.
Yeah.
For old time's sake, let's go.
Yes.
Aster's already found food. Sorry.
Do they all do all the snails have like super fast names?
So,
Is it
Like turbo.
Yeah.
Turbo Junior. Okay, I want everyone. Everyone roll a d8 to see what snail you got.
Ooh.
Last rolls of the game.
Yeah. Oh, there's gonna be plenty of rolls in this.
Yeah.
I get the winning snail.
Pimner, your
You
snail
get the infinite snail.
wearing a black banner is called the Queen's Majesty.
I rolled a 4.
Me too. Oh, we can share.
Let's put our bits in together.
Oh no, you're riding them.
Uh,
You're riding the snails.
That makes it even
yeah.
better.
they're giant snails?
Oh, there, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think the original Dr. Dolittle movie.
What about if I want to think about the never-ending story?
But none of us
Yeah.
have seen the original Dr. Dolittle movie. Not even me.
It really is.
never
Look
ending
'em
story,
go.
though. I could get behind that.
Welcome
I am
to-
now sad we didn't see this art. I love the 2 in the background that are just trying to catch up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now this is pod racing.
This is snail racing.
Try spinning. That's a good trick. Okay, don't. I guess just slug forward.
They go in their shells and start spinning like a Mario Kart shell. All right, a 4. Was that Kal'zi?
Kal'zi and Aster.
Well, Kal'zi,
reroll.
your one has a green banner, and his name is Quickleaf.
Aw.
Karen rolled a 6. Okay, like this one has an orange banner, and his name is Wizzy.
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 Yeah, I can tell he's whizzied all over the place.
I don't get
That's
you
a
mean,
little-
Kal'zi.
It's a dad joke. You wouldn't understand.
Aster, yours is yellow, and name is Flower Flash.
Ooh.
And who am I missing? Am I missing anyone?
Pim.
Oh, Gray.
Gray.
Not there.
Come on, Gray.
Gray, you don't
Grace-
want to jump in a snail?
No, it isn't there.
Would you want to be?
Not yet. I'm waiting.
Oh, he's scheming.
Okay.
We forgot Pim.
I know.
That was
Pim
the
was.
first one.
Yeah, Pim was first.
Oh,
Queen's Majesty.
Hey.
But the Queen is the Majesty. And
The Queen's Majesty.
But it's like, of the Queen, I am the Queen's Majesty, so she has to look up to me.
Mhm.
Oh my God, Karen is no longer the monarch of the Witchlight Carnival.
That's
Actually,
true.
when she came in,
Wait,
she's still recognized as the
Oh,
monarch.
8 years later?
8 years later.
Until the hall, until they crown a new one, I guess.
Jeez,
Until I die.
But so they haven't crowned either. They haven't crowned another one for 8 years now, or that means that there are dozens of monarchs that.
Oh yeah.
Not in this world.
I think it's the second one.
I think they'll all get together like a Power Rangers reunion episode.
Do they all like with our powers combined? And they turn
Captain.
into, like, that's Captain Planet. That's not Power. What did the Power Rangers say whenever they like turn into the big old?
Go Power Rangers.
That's
No.
the theme song.
Oh.
When they turn into like the big
The Zoid.
dinosaur thing.
Oh, they
yeah.
were Morbid. They
Morphin'
went into their
time.
Morbizords.
It's morphin time, right? I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen Power Rangers. The joke I was trying to make was that all the Witchlight monarchs form and just become a giant lady.
Become a giant Zord.
And
Yeah.
Dyna Thrusters are go or something. Something
That-
Voltron.
No, I was gonna say that is not. That is definitely Voltron and or Thunderbirds.
All right. So we'll have a U4 race. And they're all like all the snails are in their stalls. You each pick out your favorite or the ones you randomly rolled for.
Which is our favorite.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, Wizzy, that sounds like a quick name. And nothing
Well,
else.
Mine must be quicker because it's Quick Leaf.
Yeah, but
These aren't quick. What's quick?
Fast
Oh,
is a flash.
but
Oh.
whiz. You can think of nothing else but speed with that word.
Nothing
Whiz.
else. Not a single other thing comes to mind.
No,
Although I do want
no.
some cheese now.
No, honey, you're lactose intolerant.
It's not gonna stop me.
It's
Yeah, I
always the
know.
lactose intolerant that eats the most cheese.
Only hot bitches have stomach problems.
Right. I had to quickly learn about snail racing here.
Joey is now a snail racing expert.
Yeah.
Mm.
So basically, you have to sign a bunch of like papers, like saying if you get hurt, the carnival is not responsible for any injuries. You have to sign.
Captain Dismemberment Weaver.
Yeah, you have to sign like eight different waivers. You see this guy like walking out like with bandages, going, "Oh!"
Well, he chose the lightning snail.
But basically, each snail will move a certain amount per round, and depending on your animal handling check, you will either get more or less. So,
Ugh, Okay.
Right, so there's some
wish-
fairies with a big flag in there. I wonder if I have some racing music.
Put on Snail Race from Undertale.
I don't have that. That's not good. Have all this music, no race music.
Music everywhere, and not a drop to listen to.
Here, to a rival in Prismere. Kind of racing music. I
Well,
don't
that
know.
works, yeah.
Okay. So, some fairies come out with the flag. And each one goes, on your mark! Get set! Go! And the
Oh.
flag comes down. Everyone give me an animal handling check as these snails just burst forward with enormous speed, going 80 feet within 6 seconds.
8.
19.
9.
11.
Oh.
Oh,
I think Aster's doing the best here, yeah.
Woo!
you just math my head here. So
For now.
13.
Aster has the most experience with riding a racing
I was
thing.
just about to say that.
My snail's broken.
13. So why don't you keep track of your snail's distance?
We gotta be the DM.
Well, no, I can do it. Hold on.
No, I got it. I'm kidding. I can.
No, I have all the names here. Right. So everyone, basically tell me your roll.
Kal'zi got an 8.
8.
19 for Aster.
19. Okay.
9 for Pim.
Okay.
11 for Karen.
Okay. Oh yeah, Greer's on here. So if you fail by 5 or more, then you go slower. But if you succeed for 5 more, you go faster. So
What's the threshold for fail or
So,
success?
13. And I already forgot the numbers. So Kal'zi, you only go 60 feet. Aster, you go 100 feet. Pim, you go 90 feet. And Karen, you go 70 feet. I'll make this a little shorter than what the actual thing is. Never do that.
See if I have any true. Oh, I guess we all had a long rest.
Yeah, very long rest.
I didn't sleep for 8 years.
So maybe some people used to work here. Maybe weren't expecting these snails to be so darn fast. And let's see if we have a surprise.
No, we have snail race complications.
Nope. Next round's good. Everyone give me another animal handling.
Hey, it's a little better.
So
Pim got a 6.
Pim, yeah, so you only go ahead 60.
Kal'zi got an 18.
18, you go ahead 100.
Karen Smighte, 18.
18.
Same as my age.
She wishes.
What would Aster?
16.
16. Go ahead, 90. Right. Complication. Yeah, let's make it fun.
Are you implying that snail racing is not
Yeah.
fun?
Yeah. All of a sudden,
Oh, no.
during this round, one of the snails, which is Pim's, kind of gets a cramp in one of its many disgusting snail muscles.
Oh no.
And you actually lose 40 feet in your next round. But give me another animal handling check.
You do this. Take out my spyglass to make myself go faster.
I don't think that's how that works.
You still have that thing.
It's broken, okay?
So Karen,
4.
you go 60 feet.
Kal'zi got us 15.
15, that's good.
Aster got 13.
So you know, I'm horrible with numbers, so like... I'm not gonna-
What's the number we're adding up to?
don't
400?
swear these numbers. You don't know quite yet.
Okay. I'm keeping track of mine, so I think I have 230 right now.
Yeah, Pim, unfortunately.
I don't think I moved because I only had 5.
Yeah, it went ahead. Oh, I put the wrong one here. Shoot. You only move about 20 feet. And Aster, what did you roll? 13?
13.
You and Kal'zi are actually neck and neck at the finish line.
They're holding hands.
They're holding hands. But one of you's got to win. So give me one more animal handling check.
Natural 11.
Karen got a natural 1.
So you're holding hands. And Kal'zi's like, this is why I fell in love with you. And Aster's like,
And then
sucker!
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say Aster's like, oh, I love you too, and then like pushes him as he crosses the finish line.
And Aster is the winner.
I fall off the snail.
Yep.
Face plant.
Oh, I'm gonna have to take him to the glue factory now. Sorry. It's dark.
Everyone say goodbye to your dad.
And Aster, they hand you the fairies hand you a potion of advantage.
Oh, that'll be helpful.
And Kal'zi, they hand you a constellation prize, which is a magic wand that allows you to cast the dancing light cantrip once.
Aww.
I cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter on Aster.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Hey, wouldn't it be funny if I won instead?
No.
I need a,
Damn it. A wisdom save.
I just thought it'd be funny if, like, you remember that statue of Tasha?
Yeah.
Hall of Illusions, like, wonder if, like... It's
Yeah,
like, it's like,
10.
don't believe their lies. There's, like, graffiti on it and stuff. And people are like, Zelina lives or something. I don't know.
I was if Kal'zi has that spell in a book, did he try to get it autographed before he left?
Oh, I definitely would have gotten some autographs.
Autographs.
Yeah,
are on
so
spell.
so Aster falls down laughing. In
Yeah,
a
because
pile of mud.
because Kal'zi said, "Wouldn't it be funny if I won?" It's the funniest fucking thing I've heard all day.
So I think that's where this scene will fade to black and say the end in fancy letters.
Wait, what did Gray do?
Yeah, what did Gray do?
You'd
Epilogue.
find out if you checked your DMs.
Oh no.
Oh,
Joey was too involved in the snail race to
Well,
There's a lot of numbers being thrown out.
when I'm
Yeah.
when I'm recording it it mutes Discord, so I never hear anything.
Good point.
What did Gray try to do?
What will Gray do now?
So as you're kind of laughing, it's like Kal'zi at his faceplant. A rogue figure approaches you. Their face hidden, in a cackly voice, goes, "Now that you've had your fun, it's time for my revenge." And the hood comes back, and you see this hideous hag face with like warts on her nose and crooked teeth and one eye's bigger than the other. She just starts cackling.
Stand back, everybody, and I start to cast Call Lightning. I can make this do an entire 40-10 of damage. The entire 40 damage of it. We got this.
I still have my elemental I can throw at her.
I'll hit it with a wood axe.
I'll just throw you all the stuff you got. Just have this hag.
I'm readying it. I'm not throwing it. I'm readying it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Ray, I almost killed you. My goodness.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
That was pretty convincing, though.
Oh, Gray. Cue left track.
Yeah.
It fades out on like a circle on Gray's face, and then it opens back up. He winks, it closes again.
He just does a little shrug, like, "Ain't I a stinker?"
I mean, the laugh track would just be Aster still compulsively laughing.
I get the feeling that now that their link with now the link with their patron is established again, they're a little more jovial because of their link to the Fey realm.
Yeah.
So I was gonna kind of say this for the podcast, but like, how would Gray react knowing that his patron, like, used to be, and in some ways still is, like a demonic warlord?
Oh, I mean, everybody has their dark days.
I'm not gonna lie, I was really expecting Gray to say it still hasn't been. So, never proven. She didn't admit it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
No, she admitted to it.
And she's like, if you tell anyone, I will end you. Alright. So yeah, Face of Black, Fancy Letters, the end. And that officially...
James Bond will return in Strixhaven.
Oh my god, I should
Yes!
be one of Aster and
Witchlight.
Kal'zi's kids!
Oh my god.
That's
All
probably...
of
Rewrite
them.
the entire character.
Yeah.
I might actually do that though. Oh my god, that's so cute.
Hey,
Wait.
Randy's playing one of his old characters, maybe at a previous time in her life, who is going to
Oh, this
Strixhaven.
timeline's gonna be all sorts of
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He played that character's father in like one of our short games, and he was like, "So if this character dies, what happens to Louis Sula?" And she's like, "Time paradox."
Can't do that, Snake. You'll create a time paradox.
Right. But that's where our Wild Beyond the Witchlight game will officially end.
We didn't die.
We didn't die.
Yay.
Oh, what if you find Kal'zi fell off the stale and broke his neck at the very last? It's like, that's where we have our character death.
And then Gray shows up in hag form. Haha!
But everyone's like Kal'zi's dead, Gray.
Awkward.
Now's not the time.
Can you imagine there's a DM out there that has like a reputation for doing total party kills for like the epilogue?
Oh my
Oh.
god.
Well, I kind of had that because we ended a game early. It kind of wasn't working out, so I said, "I'm going to give you this really hard battle, and just go wild with what your characters do." And like they ended up like serving devil lords and like becoming BDSM like succubuses and all that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
Suck you by.
succubus. But anyway, Witchlight is over, but the podcast has just begun.
Whoa.
Oh God.
Oh,
So, hello and welcome to the Legendary Frogcast. I am your host, Joseph Blanchett, and this is a crossover with our D&D show. With me is Mark Schneider.
The Joseph Dungeons and Dragons hour of the show.
So with me is Mark Schneider.
Hello.
We have Super Bunny Bud.
Gigi.
We have Steph and Sam.
hello.
Hi.
No, that's
Oh.
Sam and Steph.
Oh, Sam's. Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot.
You got it mixed up.
Hi.
And we have Jess, a.k.a. Nemir.
Hello.
Hello. Jess, did you know this entire time for the past 6 months you've been on a podcast called The Legendary Frogcast Play D&D Together?
Did I?
Yeah.
No. Oh, wait, what?
You kind of knew. You knew we were recording it, so.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
what?
I
So-
cannot believe it.
Yep, so this is one of our D&D episodes. We're going to review the campaign we just ran. Not only the adventure we had, but the adventure in the book. Some points we liked, some points we didn't like. So if you're on the main podcast feed and want to listen to the show, you can always go to anchor.fm/lfrogdnd or go to youtube.com/Joseph Blanchett and you can watch and listen to our D&D games. But yeah, we're going to be spoiling it, talking about the entire adventure, so if you haven't run or plan on running Wild Beyond the Witchlight, one of the official D&D books, then don't listen.
Yeah.
Or listen, or just mute it so we still get the view count. That'd be nice.
Yeah, you watch it, and now you know exactly how to run it.
Yes.
All right. So, if you listened to the show before, then most of these players were in our Waterdeep Dragon Heist game that that Mark DM'd, and I had such a good
That's
time with
neat.
that group. And I knew they really liked the RP side of it. I thought the Wild Beyond the Witchlight would be like perfect game to run with them. And for some added fun, we invited our friend Jess along for the ride. So it's kind of, she's played D&D with us before, but that was a while ago. But this is like kind of the first campaign that you've been in, like with the main groups.
Yeah.
More or less.
I'm bring Gray over with the other people because he's been all alone. Come over here, Gray. Okay.
Oh, I got fat.
Yeah. So let's talk about your characters a little bit. Start with Mark. Who was your character in The Wild Beyond the Witchlight?
I was Kal'zi Redmare. Started out as an elf, but his secret was that he lost, or the thing he lost was his better half, which was the better half of his body, which was a centaur body.
Mm-hmm.
So when he got his things back, he became a centaur. This was I remember us talking about this or joking about it when I was traveling up to New York with my parents to visit family. We were in a bed. I was in a bed and breakfast, like halfway up to the trip. And I was talking to you, Joey, and we were just coming up with some ideas. I jokingly stated a centaur who lost the body, and after a little bit, I was like, kind of like it, kind of want to do it.
Yep. Yeah. So the premise of this adventure is that the Witchlight Carnival is this like a Feywild carnival that visits like different worlds. But if you sneak in without a ticket, then the hags that have taken over the Feywild realm steal something from the people without a ticket, and
Not necessarily something physical.
yep. And like the book has some random things you can roll on, like you lost your ability to like write down your name, or you lost your like fashion sense, and little things like that. But we decided to kind of make our own, like fit it into the character a little more.
Yeah.
And you're just
I
like, what if,
remember
like, what if I was a centaur that lost my body? And like we were like,
Yeah.
haha, funny joke. But we were like, wait a minute, that's actually
Yeah.
kind of perfect.
Well, I also remember, I think we were talking about at the time, is that you also came up with the idea of a big old tough orc that lost his teddy bear.
Yeah.
And you were sad that nobody jumped on that idea.
Yeah, because I was like thinking about this like if I was gonna run this, like my idea would be like this orc warlord guy who like takes over nations and all this stuff with his army, all because he lost his teddy bear as a kid. um,
Mr. Snuffles.
yeah, that probably would have been my my character if I was a player in this one. How about Sam? What was your character?
So it was Karen. I remember when we were making this that there was like some, like my sister had a very like serious backstory, and I thought I want the complete opposite of that. So that way, when people find out what it is, it's like really that's it. But then it's completely devastating, and Karen can play it up as it's the worst thing that's ever happened. So hers was you couldn't taste anything.
Yeah, lost her sense of taste, but not
Yeah.
not the fashion sense.
I know that was questioned a couple of times through different characters and
Yeah.
stuff, but yes.
We were talking like I would say like you don't have to be like an adventuring person. In fact, you can just kind of be a normal person that gets like wrapped up in this adventure. And we were talking about being this like kind of housewife character.
Yeah, and one thing I really liked with it is kind of similar to the previous game in Waterdeep is I very much like when people jumped in to kind of guess what Karen's like character was or like backstory a little bit. And so I really like went with the idea of like if anyone really kind of says anything about her, it's probably true. We'll make it canon. So like different things of like how she's like head of the PTA, but she doesn't have any kids, and like different like I think we described her husband at one point as being this like really meek person that she just walks all over. I know at the very end, turns out she was a lunch lady for the school where all the kids came from.
Her fourth husband after the first three mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like I really enjoyed it when people could like add to the character like that.
Mechanically, I loved the idea that your rage was because you're a Karen.
Yeah, I
You'd
just
get mad at the manager, and you'd be barbarian fighting, and that is such a great sort of offshoot of a quirky barbarian.
Yeah, because I said it's like because so you want to be a Karen? And she's like, yes. How about if your name was Karen, but with an apostrophe in the middle?
Or Elvish, yeah. No,
yeah.
I thought it was really fun. And like for playing her, I thought I'd try and be like very matter of fact and like oblivious. Trying to be like a jerk character, but not too annoying for other players.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a way that we could just very bluntly like move ahead somewhere if there was any type of stalling or like conversation. Like she could just like flat out say it and it wouldn't feel weird.
Yeah.
I did a similar thing with Space Wraith too.
Yeah, you were never really a jerk to us. You had some of the sort of stern, sort of like matter-of-factly sort of attitude, but never like outright jerk to the party members, the other characters.
One of my favorite moments in the game was when we're at the family portraits with like the hags and Tasha. And I was describing like this very like pretty young woman with black hair, and then Karen just goes, "Well, she's not that pretty.
Yeah.
It's mostly makeup."
Yeah. Like yeah, I tried playing like a whole bunch of like stereotypes of like and like she's like captain the cheerleading team allegedly, and that's how she got like the monarch thing and stuff like that. I think she it wasn't even a contest, she's just doing it out in the open randomly.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really fun.
Yeah.
And it was great. I loved it when other characters also like gave her a hard time for her obvious shortfallings. I thought that was so great.
And remember she like wrestled two goblins.
Two greasy, slicked up goblins.
Yeah. And ate a bunch of cupcakes.
Yeah. Even though it wasn't like a combat heavy adventure, like I thought it was fun that like he just brought her cooking utensils with her, and that's what she's using as weapons.
Yeah. Frying pan and a meat cleaver.
And
Yeah.
it's also great foreshadowing that you don't even notice for what was stolen from her.
Yeah, true.
That was an accident. It was very much just like, oh, housewife things, but then like, oh yeah, that's like, yeah, there actually wasn't that specific thought into it, but it just ended up happening.
Yeah.
Oh, and that you'd actually give them a clue that you taste your taste from the.
Yeah, there was something where we were eating, and I was being very obvious about like, oh, this tastes fine, but it obviously was like the worst thing ever made, and so that was me trying to hint that she can't taste anything. I think there's maybe one other time.
And explains how she won the cupcake contest.
That was just Constitution saves.
Oh, I know, but it's like
Yeah.
you can't really have a stomach ache if you or can't feel one too badly, or like have frosting overdose if you can't taste any of it.
Yeah, story-wise, that was great.
Steph, how about your character?
I actually find it really difficult to have a clear idea before I start playing them. So the same with like the previous guy, Brutrick. I find I genuinely seem to like soft-spoken characters, who just kind of like try and help out and do the right thing. So with Pimner, I overplayed it too much of like, because she didn't have a sense of home, that she never really felt like belonging with anyone. So she'd just kind of like be quiet or sit in a corner, which was like not really the best thing for like a team sport, you know. But I remember when I was like, oh, it'd be really neat if like she lost her sense of home, like that'd be pretty cool. And I remember you being like, are you sure? That's like a lot. And I'm like, no, this is pretty, like, it'd be cool. I don't think anybody else will pick that one. And then you're like, all right, I guess so.
Yeah, so it didn't really come up that much, but there's definitely times where like you didn't like feel comfortable like being friends with people, because like you felt or the idea was like you couldn't become attached to people and feel close to them, and that was like the sense of home.
Yeah, like it was very much like there was never a sense of belonging to anything.
And in my mind, like just the fact that you wanted to become a clown, one, to become a part of a group, and two, so you look like everyone else, you know, kind of had some double meaning there too.
Yeah, like, because one, it's just like, I feel empty, but maybe I can make these other people feel better, and I can find, like, why that thing that's missing by doing that was, like, kind of one of the things.
Yeah, so, like,
I also...
when I was making your token stuff, I was like, oh, it's like, yeah, this little halfling rogue, she should be all sneaky, have this smirk on her face, and when I did, like, the commission for the yard, I said, yeah, give her a little smirk and stuff, but it ended up, like, your character was nothing like that. You know?
Yeah, because that's the thing is, like, obviously it would have been a bard, right? Because she's a performer, but I'm like, no, I actually really like the idea of, like, because where I wanted to go eventually with her, and it, like, I kind of was able to do it later, was just this idea that her stealth was so high, but she was, like, dressed like a clown. Like, all of a sudden, she would just be there, and then she would disappear. It was, like, something I was kind of interested in, but I didn't really, because she became a lot more friendly and, like, was self-aware in that she was like popping up and stuff after a bit, that it if she was a chaotic character, I totally would have done that on purpose, where she's purposely like pranking on everyone and stuff, where it's just like I appear and it's like hello, and then like you blink and she's gone, but it's like this very brightly colored clown, so it'd be like this weird nightmare creature sort of was an idea, but it just never turned out like that. And I kind of like it more because then she was more of like a real character. And then one of my favorite things that happened was when Aster went into a cosmic trip, because none of us knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But because I knew the stuff, the reveal for Pimner was coming up close because we were near Gleam, and it was kind of revealing a little bit about the shadows and stuff that had stolen her sense of home from her, that I was able to express something when we all thought Aster was dead, that would then lead into why it was such a big deal, is because like Aster's the closest thing to home that she's had since she's lost her ability to have home, so to lose that too would be like so devastating.
I remember that specifically because I was making jokes about the event. I was like, what, she was just sleeping for hours, blah, blah, blah. And then you come in and you're like, oh my god, this is horrible, don't do that again. I'm like, oh no, now I feel like a dick.
Yeah, and then you had that conversation with Gleam, that kind of, for me, like, kind of came out of nowhere. So I was like, oh, I gotta be serious about it, because, like, this person's shadow, like, took away something that's so important to someone's like well-being. Um, but then it got me thinking. It's like, what if the hag kind of did this on purpose? Like, because she has these, because Endolin has these like prophecies, so she kind of knows about people. And like, what if she looked into Pim's future, saw that she was going to live this mundane life as a potato farmer or something in the middle of nowhere, and she was like, potato, um, mash them, mix them in a stew. It's like, so what if like the hag was like thought she was doing a favor, like it's like, yeah, I took away your home, but now your home is is like the entire multiverse of where this the carnival goes. I gave you the most exciting life that anyone could wish for, but the ironic part is that she also stole the part of you that like didn't care about that.
Yeah, and I think that was really cool to help make that character a really, really strong villain in the sense of like, because it's great, like she's powerful and all this stuff, but just the idea that she's like, I know what's best for everyone else and is controlling other people's lives. And then being like, I'm so great, I'm so helpful, but she's literally creating all of this sorrow and stuff, but she can't see it because she's like, nope, I'm always right.
Yes.
It was like such a like a really like that is a really good villain in that they're like, I'm helping, but they're just making everything worse.
Yeah, so like
that is a very good Fae mentality too.
Yeah, and like each hag almost had like a different way of doing bargains. Like I thought Bavlorna just was just kind of end up being kind of cruel, like taking away that elf's heart because like he fell in love. But like Skabatha, it's like, oh, you want to be a part of you want to be with your horse forever, then I'll give you that wish. You know, you're literally be a part of your horse forever with like Diana. But with like Endolin, like I always thought like she thinks she's doing the right thing, but she's always like there's always like a wicked twist to it that's just gonna make your life miserable.
And she thinks that she's a Disney fairy princess, but or a fairy godmother, but she's a Grimm's fairy tale one.
Yeah,
where all of the wishes granted are a monkey's paw kind of thing.
And I think the book was kind of implying that, but like she's kind of the smartest one, because like since she can see the future and has such understanding of life and death, like she's kind of the most serious one, of all the group. So I kind of like made her not as like bumbling. You know, like she was very like serious with all that stuff.
Yeah.
She also has the best character design.
Oh yeah, with like the skeleton or
That was so cool.
And you killed her, Jess.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
Technically.
The only hag to actually die.
Well, technically.
Oh.
We went back and finished the job.
Oh, you think after the fact you traveled to the Shadowfell and took care of the other two?
I used my spyglass. That's why it's broken. I had to kill them with the spyglass.
Oh, you looked at it real hard. How about you, Jess?
Well, it's funny. My original idea, kind of along the same line, with Pim, and Steph, where Joey's like, "Are you sure?" Like, my original idea, because I thought this was going to be a lot more like grimdark of a setting, because you think like, oh, like a creepy carnival, Feywild. My mind immediately went to like, ooh, something like super grimdark and like, real messed up.
We're only in the carnival for the first act.
Well, no, but just the idea of everything, right? I was like, real dark, and Joey's like,
yeah, like
I don't know about that one, Chief, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, because I don't like to like turn down people's character idea, but I was like, oh, okay, so this just isn't gonna fit.
Yeah, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you did say that, because you're right. That other character.
Yeah, like I realized I kind of didn't like. I just thought you kind of knew what it was, like what the adventure was. I was like, oh, she like might not really know like what kind of what kind of mood this is.
No clue. And I'm used to playing like those, kind of more darker, edgier, deeper characters. So
yes.
Aster was.
So I was like, no, our games always get pretty silly.
Yeah. So Aster was more of like a light, refreshing character. I technically used Aster in another campaign that I never finished, and I was like, he was fun. I'm gonna bring him back. But Aster didn't actually lose anything? Question mark, technically.
Yeah.
The whole time he was more like, because he had made a friend with Pim, and the way that I always imagine their friendship is that whenever they met, so whenever Pim remained at the carnival, I guess, because Aster's been there his whole life as far as he's concerned. I imagine their friendship as that, like, there's the quiet kid, and then like the extroverted, really talkative kid who like just sits down at the lunch table with them one day and is like, "Can I sit here?" And the other one doesn't answer, and they're like, "All right, anyway." So, and then they just launch on about their life, but like, there's kind of that, like, they're friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's always kind of how I
got
pictured that.
adopted.
Yeah, exactly. And like a lot of that, and I'm sure 95% of their friendship was Pim just staring, like 1,000-yard staring off into the distance, while Aster's just bang away. So whenever it came time for things to happen and all these other people came around, Aster was like, "Well, bucket, I'm coming around for the ride, I guess." And then as it turned out, oh wait, technically he did lose his parents.
Yeah. That was an idea I had near the start. But I was so tired when the end of the game happened. I don't think I executed it maybe as well. Like when they
No, I
finally
think you
met.
did just fine.
Yeah. But the idea was there's kind of like a Superman situation going on. When Krypton's exploding, where Aster's parents kind of got wind that the hags were gonna do something bad, and some fairies used like magic to like go to the carnival and leave you at their doorstep. And we didn't really get into it, but it was they actually were seeking a prophecy from Endolin about, it's like, oh, we're son grow up to be happy and marry a centaur and all that stuff. It's like, well, we just have to know, we can't wait, like, and since the hags were the advisors to Zablina, I imagine they kind of disguise themselves as like normal people, or like other people around. And I kind of thought, kind of almost last minute, that Endolin would like have a prophecy that this is the person. This is like when this baby grows up, they're gonna kill her.
Yeah.
So they wanted to get this baby as far away as possible. So they actually told them about the plan to freeze Zablina. And it's like, well, you should, get him as far away as you can right now. Even though, ironically, if he would have been frozen, I guess would have been safer.
So Aster is the baby from Willow.
Yes.
But it was fun. Aster, especially in the carnival, since you were a member, I had to you're like, so do I know this person? It's like, yeah, you probably know this person.
Yeah.
But like you started calling out Mr. Witch and Mr. Light on their bullcrap. It's like, so why do you let this happen? It's like, it seems like you're not good people if you do this. And they were like, well, you see, it was for the good of the carnival. And it's like, well, that's not a good answer.
For the greater good.
Yeah.
It, very much like, I'm sure Aster, was probably like, nah, I'm sick of this,
Yeah, because
workers' rights and all that,
Because the idea is that, like, the carnival, while it is a good place overall,
yeah,
it's like just in the shadows. It's like every once in a while you hear about someone going missing, or just things like that. Like someone goes into the Hall of Illusions and never comes out. Just things like that. And Aster and Pim, might have picked up on that. So when the time comes, it's like they want to see it. See it made right and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure, once it came out, oh yeah, actually the carnival's being run by hags behind the scenes, and
yeah.
Oh wait, you're just allowing this little girl in a pig mask to steal people in the Hall of Illusions? What the?
Yeah, and Mr. Witch and Mr. Light would justify it, saying it's like, well, we put all the precautions necessarily so that doesn't happen. It's not our fault if a little kid sneaks in. It's like they're disobeying the rules, The reason why that the pig mask girl was gonna take that halfling is because he went into the Hall of Illusions without a ticket.
Yeah.
Because he was so distraught.
Did we do something wrong? No, it's the children that are.
Yeah,
doing
the
it.
children
Yeah,
are- and I kind of played into that, like, after, like, you kept, like, saying, "Hey, can we go to the Feywild?" And they were like, "No," and, like, you kept on insisting and, like, saying, "Hey, it's like all of this is kind of your fault." I wanted to be like, they kind of had like a epiphany of like, well, maybe we can't do anything, but maybe these people can.
Mm.
But also at the same time, they're so kind of selfish that they're not willing to give up their carnival to do the right thing. So
What a bunch of jikes.
yeah, but Aster, yeah,
Yeah, that's Aster.
Aster done it.
Comic relief of the of the campaign, I think.
And Bun, how about Gray?
Gray, I do admit I went way too overboard. This is probably the most complex backstory I've made for a character, and half of it I don't think the DM ever actually read. So,
Well, I don't think you sent me much.
I did at near the very beginning, or I think we may have we may have ended up saying it over voice chat. I can't.
Yeah, like I
remember.
remember we kind of went over it, but then there was that one point in the thing where like I was kind of telling the backstory and you went like, "No, that's not right." I was like, "It's not." It's like, "No." It's like, "Oh." uh,
Yeah, so just bad communication and stuff, but it for the most part none of it had anything to do with anything. It was just simply Gray is essentially they when they were caught by the hags, they tried to basically curse Gray to become like them, or like one of Bavlorna's little frogling things,
yeah,
and was basically becoming a hag themselves, and
yeah. Like Gray didn't sneak into the carnival. We decided that just happened to him, like when he was younger, where he like Bavlorna was on the mortal plane for whatever reason, or maybe even the Feywild. I guess we weren't really sure. And she said like I like shapeshifters sound neat, and so she was trying to make him into like a hexblood, into a servant.
yeah, or maybe like one of the one of her personal heavies, like Will was with the other one.
Yeah,
But then Zablina basically cancels out that with her own patronage, and
yeah. 'Cause, like Zablina kind of steps in, kind of saves the day.
yeah, but
Sees that her sister's up to no good in her realm. It's like, nope, can't do that.
got one little fight.
Yeah.
And so basically just paused the curse as long as Gray was under their protection. But then Zablina ends up getting frozen without ice, and so then the curse resumes, and pretty much anytime they end up using any of their abilities, the hex basically goes stronger, and so couldn't really live the life that they were disguised within, and in the backstory it was like ended up basically taking over the life of somebody that was going to marry a baron, and so had like membership in like a royal court kind of thing, and was working as a courtesan and stuff, and didn't want to lose all of that political power that they'd built up, and basically had to find out what was going on with Zablina so they could regain their ability to shapeshift without turning into a hag. And it's an incredibly selfish reason for it, and admittingly their alignment was lawful evil, but they it just eventually kind of it got less selfish.
Yeah, so like I don't know if the timelines of like that story and the actual story of the adventure quite line up, because Prismere has been frozen for like a long time, like 10, 20 Earth years or something like that. Um, so like it's a good story, I think, where like these two curses are kind of battling it out, and like since Zablina's in trouble, like one of them is starting to win.
Yeah, I never said how long they've been traveling.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got to draw. Mel got to draw like 2 tokens. One where Gray was kind of hiding their changeling nature, and like another one where it's their true form with little like hag horns and stuff. One without hag horns.
Three images.
Yep.
Price of 1.
Um,
I didn't get a centaur version of my portrait, Joey.
it's implied.
It's just an icon of your butt.
Yeah. And like I was kind of pushing for Gray. It's like it would be really good if we had like a Warlock Zablina patron story in this, because like it just kind of ties into the entire adventure. And so thank you, Bun, for taking that with your character. Yeah, so those were our players for The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Any questions for me about the adventure?
Who was your favorite NPC to play?
I definitely like Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. It's like the dynamic between them. A lot of fun. I really like Skabatha. I got really into like the old granny mannerisms when playing her.
I like to imagine that you were like sitting at your desk as well, like doing like actually acting
I totally
out,
was.
you know, getting all hunched over.
I
and,
totally
like...
was.
Acting shawl on your chair.
I think old grannies are a favorite of just about every voice actor.
Yeah.
So here I have a token page with like all the tokens on it. I like Burley too. He was fun.
You know which one was the one that was like the clown smoking backstage?
Thaco.
Yeah, he inspired me based on a character Jess was thinking of for the Spelljammer game. It's because when we were playing it, you did this sort of like Jersey I don't care accent, and I was like, but doctor, I am Pagliacci.
Yeah. Hey, you want a balloon animal? I'll do it for you.
And I was like, wait a second, that's the kind of attitude I have to have for a version of a character of an auto gnome that plays an organ grinder for kids, and like that's the voice I gave him, the attitude.
Maybe Mulberry is the first edition of the auto gnome that Squeezebox is, you know, master made, and it was like, yeah, I don't know, I don't like this one. He's kind of crusty, so he sent Mulberry off on his own.
Boy, he never finished. Mulberry is the name of my version of the character, and his organ grinder does all around the mulberry bush, but it never reaches the fourth part of the song. It's always the first 2 parts repeated. That's all.
It just goes over and over.
Over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah, I've seen videos like that where it's like, it just makes you anxious because the thing you know is coming never comes.
It's like the Wii Shop music, or the Wii music, but like unnecessarily long, uncomfortably long pauses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, like any like parts of the adventure that you have like questions about, or like that you really liked.
I know you said that there's a thing that, depending on what we did in the carnival, affected the game later.
Oh yeah, so the Witchlight Carnival has a lot of attractions you can go to, and they give you advantages for things later on in the game. You ran into a few of them, like those snail races that we did in the little epilogue. Do you remember when you first got to Prismere and they had those herringons with the giant snail mounts?
Yep.
Oh.
You could like have advantage on animal checks with them. Oh, the Calliope. Some of you gave the goblins some buttons. And if ever in Prismere you got imprisoned, then you would hear the Calliope music, and like the door would unlock on its own.
Oh.
And there's a few times where like you could have gotten captured. what other ones? Like if you never did the gondola with the swans, but the swans would like talk like a philosophy with you, and that would give you like a skill check when you're trying to like convince someone in Prismere. I kind of forget where, but it's kind of things like that, like the dragonflies give you an animal handling check later on. Just little things like that, yeah. Or are you talking
and then
about
there's the wishes?
Or were you talking about the very end?
No, I was talking about that specifically because I
Okay.
remember you brought up just in conversation later that like, oh, depending what you did, it's going to affect it, and it'll be a surprise when it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
Uh,
like affect it in the way that it'll give you a little advantage. Like
Yeah.
if you like sing with if you sing with Thalisha, then you get a advantage on something. But if you get acting lessons, then when you do that pantomime with those flying creatures near the end, like you got advantage on that, stuff like that.
Did we? I got a question. Did we miss any like really good treasure that you wish we found?
Well, you did get the Vorpal sword, which is kind of the best weapon in D&D.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't use it on anything. Yeah, it's kind of a surprisingly kind of a magic item light adventure. You mostly just get little trinkets that do fancy things, but not necessarily like a bunch of magic items. But I don't think you really missed anything of importance. You missed a couple places in Downfall where the unicorn horn could potentially be, but since I knew it wasn't there, I didn't really like urge you towards those places. Because one fun thing is at the beginning of the adventure, I just roll on a table, and that's the location of the unicorn horn in the adventure. It could be basically anywhere in Prismere. You could have found it in the first area, you could have found it in the palace, or anywhere in between.
If we missed it in an earlier area that we couldn't return to, would you then put it in a new area for us? Or would it just be like, well, that's gone?
Potentially. I guess it depends on where it was. I probably would
Which
have given...
building we burned down when it's
Yeah.
in there or not.
Like, I probably would have given hints about where it could be. You would just have to backtrack. But there was actually other ways to unfreeze Zablina. You didn't need the unicorn horn.
We didn't try putting a fire around her and letting her melt.
Yeah.
Oh.
You didn't try slapping her and go, hey, wake up.
Oh God, that's usually the first thing I do.
Yeah, one thing that didn't quite pan out in the adventure is the League of Malevolence and the Valor's Call. There's kind of a lot of build...
We didn't go visit them after we woke up the castle.
Yeah, because it just wasn't that important. But like you could have met up with the leader of the League of Malevolence, and his bodyguard has a special sword that could destroy the cauldron, and that also would have ended the spell because the cauldron was destroyed. And but then Zablina would be kind of ticked off that you destroyed her cauldron, and she would use the wish spell to repair it. So she wouldn't have been as nice to you if that would have happened.
Yeah.
Like, Kal'zi would have been annoyed too. But it's got collector's value.
Collector's value.
Yeah, there's a few places it could be. Actually, I did roll twice because the first one I didn't like much. It was going to be at the Darkling merchants in Downfall, and I didn't like the idea of you just walking up and seeing it there so early. So I rolled again, and then it went to Charmé in the theater.
I was gonna say, and so instead it fell out of Charmai's cleavage.
Yeah.
It was one of the prizes at the carnival for throwing the ring toss.
It was all in Prismere. Like one of them in like the unicorn costumes that Will and the boys had. They actually had the real unicorn horn, like with all the fake ones. Here, let me just pull up the thing here. One of them was in Bavlorna's cauldron that you actually never ran into.
Is there any place that we could have also burned down that we didn't?
You know, anything could potentially be burned down. You just have to try hard enough.
Technically, would we have been able to burn down the castle at the end? Because if all of the air there is stopped due to time, there's not going to really be oxygenation.
So if the fire starts after it's been frozen, it could probably work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of them
Also, we had a fire elemental help us.
Yeah. One of them was in the cupboards where the where Pigso was one location. One of them, one of the flying creatures in Yon would have had them, which I didn't really like. Possession of Charme. The librarian could have had it for some reason, and the familiar in the tower could have had it. But I kind of think what we did was kind of the best because it was in possession of a person that like didn't want you to have it, and you would have to make a deal to get it or have a big fight.
Or in our case, a threat.
A threat.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you avoided like a big fight in that because you rolled so. I think you critted on it. Like if you didn't crit on that intimidation check,
Was that Aster or Karen?
It wasn't Karen, it was Aster.
it was Aster. Yeah.
Because he used, whenever he had his little void trip into space, he came out with a higher intimidation for some reason.
Yep.
It made him more mean.
Yeah, because if you remember, I was like thinking, it's like, well, she's not going to give up this horn. There's got to be a fight. But she rolled a natural 20 and she went to space, so she knows what true horror is. And I was kind of looking forward to that fight too, but it's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm not
Made
mad.
sure I poop herself instead.
How they work.
You'll give us an extra boss battle in the next one.
Yeah.
We can,
It's strip
we'll make,
saving. You have to fight the...
The wretched exam boss.
Yes.
we'll make you fight the dragons that are all challenge rating like 25.
Oh, great.
Well, we can ride the mystery mine again, then meet the dungeon master, and then you can have us fight Tiamat.
Hey.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
So,
Been there, Tiamat.
not as a reflection of how I DM'd, but are there parts that you didn't like about the adventure?
The like children at risk was like kind of uncomfortable, but it did make me hate the hags more.
They did give a warning in that chapter about like there are kids at risk in here and your party may not like it. But I got the feeling that people were like okay with it as long as I didn't like go crazy with what was going on.
Yeah, it's not
there.
like you killed a kid.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, they chained him up in Santa's workshop kind of thing. It's like, well, that's,
It was more like Oliver Twist kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I mean there was one kid chained to a table, but it's because she tried to escape so many times.
Yeah.
Imagine it was like
was carrying a whip or something.
Yeah, no. And it was less troubling than the dwarf that was in the little ground cage, because hey, one flood and that guy's gone.
Yep.
Also, considering we killed a lot of things and then burned things down, really that bad in comparison.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Frog City.
As a character or as Bun?
Yes.
Yes.
So that was really neat that you were afraid of frogs. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, it was because I think it was like the only thing they remember from when they were attacked by Bavlorna was the little frog creatures basically attacking.
Yeah, so like I kind of made this part up because the book does suggest that you also get like a minor curse, and like I didn't really want to do that, but I thought having an innate fear of what took your item would be kind of a fun thing to do. So for Gray it was frogs because Bevlorna looks like a frog. For Pim
was shadows.
Yeah, Pim was like just being in the dark. I was kind of saying it's like not necessarily shadows, but like the dark makes you uncomfortable because you were just engulfed in darkness when the shadow took you.
Oh my gosh! So Lego Batman was singing about you.
Yeah.
Darkness, no parents.
Poor parents.
And then for Karen, I said, like, you're afraid of pigs, but she kind of made that, it's like, I just want to kill all pigs I see.
Yeah, it was
Well-
like, I guess, like aggression towards.
Wait, is that why so pig? You were so focused on it?
No, also just as like a person, I thought that it was horrific, and I wanted to kill it,
Yeah.
like as a player, and so I really pushed Karen for that.
Yeah, so
It-
if you didn't save that halfling who ran into the Hall of Illusions, he would have been at Loomlurch, like where Scabtha was, but he would be a little kid, and like he would recognize you and all that stuff.
well, I'm happy we avoided that for that little guy.
Yeah, he had a happy ending, I guess. It's okay with him.
And so did Pig Girl.
Which zone did you like within Prismere? Like which zone did you like the most?
I did like the last one because of the electricity, lightning everywhere because storm cleric. So
Yeah, that was definitely like I loved the Motherhorn, the lair, but I thought Yawn itself wasn't super interesting. I didn't really care for like the Corrid and the Bring Rock little plot line too much.
well, that's where we also fought those. We're gonna fight the three flame skulls that were just trying to scare us. Because I
Yeah.
remember
Oh,
you telling me
yeah.
afterwards
Here,
that you're
get on my
like that
couch.
was. Joey was telling me afterwards that was supposed to be a fight, but he was like, "Yeah, let's just roleplay this instead." So
Yeah.
we had a fun little encounter there.
Aster
That was
being
funny.
Like, oh, I'm so scared. Ooh.
Because at that point, having battles just felt weird. If it wasn't
Yeah.
like a big hag thing,
Random encounter.
yeah, random encounters. Or if you didn't initiate it or it wasn't a big bad guy, it felt like I don't necessarily want to just do a random encounter with a battle because that just hasn't been the vibe of the campaign.
Yeah, apart from a short period in which we went full murder hobo,
Yeah.
we did our best to try to avoid fights. Because, as you were saying earlier in this, none of us were heroes. We were just random people that,
Yeah.
that got pulled into this and luckily have enough abilities to survive.
Yeah, like I do like the second you get into Prismere, you basically get like jumped by a bunch of Herringons.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it worked there, but like as we got further on, it's like it's like you have to roll above an 18 or else this thing will attack you. It's like just didn't really make a lot of sense to me at that point. It's like that big giant in the palace. If you returned without a cake, like it was going to attack you.
But that makes sense.
Yeah, like that one makes sense because you
Yeah.
kind of have control
Yeah.
over it.
I would attack too if you didn't bring me cake.
Yeah, I mean, I did that twice this week already.
But
I did think it was funny how we handled that. Like, oh, fine, just sit down and calm down. Let's get you the cake, and it's like actively coming towards us. And Kal'zi has to use the fog.
That's right. I don't get to do that enough, which is quick thinking, like out of combat spell.
what did you think of the palace? Because there's a subreddit I go to for like Wild Beyond the Witchlight DMs where they kind of ask questions and get advice on how to do things, and like no one's on there really seemed to like the palace much.
It's definitely a series of confusing corridors and it's and this is like again nothing on you, Joey, of course. This is how the campaign was written, how the module
Yeah.
itself was written. The amount of it's not even the fact that it was very Fey like, just like, oh well there's all these doors, but you can't go in any of them unless you use up like this item or you specifically find like this one thing, and then which in our case we had to backtrack, like we had to
Yeah.
go back all the way back outside, and it's like, ugh, how annoying.
I still don't even know how to get to the other
Tower.
statue without
Yeah.
cheating to go there.
Well-
I thought we went everywhere from what was open.
Yeah, you like I think the intention is you go in the palace, you have to sneak past the Jabberwock. That takes you to the east side of the palace. And that's where you can go upstairs
That's true.
And
We didn't sneak past.
yeah,
the
and
wall because holy fuck, there was a Jabberwock in there.
yeah, and like
Pardon my language.
go to the like other tower, and that's where you get the ability to unlock doors, and that's when you start discovering more of the mysteries. But kind of, and I guess that's the point of the item. You get an item that just opens doors. So,
Yeah.
you just kind of went kind of straight to like to the Zablina reveal. You're like, oh, okay. But I think like if you didn't have that, that would be like much later in the progression of the palace. Like you probably would have met the hags and the leaders of the league before you kind of discover that fact.
Well, one thing I didn't get to do, but I had as a backup was that I had stone shape or something like that, where I could have literally put a small hole into a wall, and then somebody small could have gone on through to see what was in the room in the other side.
I know what
Didn't
caused
get to do that.
I know what caused me a lot of stress is how do you get to that central tower? I was like, wait, how do you get here? There's no arrows, there's no markings. It's like,
And we still didn't know how to get back.
yeah. So I
We
asked
just
I asked the subreddit
actually-
about that, saying, hey, like getting in here is a secret. I get that, even though personally I don't think it makes a lot of sense. But how do you get out? It doesn't say anywhere. And they said the players have to be creative.
Yep.
And I'm like, I kind of don't like that. Even though it would have been fun, at the time I was like, I don't want to spend time RPing how you
Yeah.
like somehow jump across this huge vortex. Like,
I
Like,
would have
what's-
assumed that there would be like an invisible bridge between the balconies because there was another balcony across from it,
Yeah.
going into the room Sablina was in.
yeah. So I think it kind of makes sense that it's a secret to get in there.
It's a lot like the that one thing I've seen where like a DM is like as a DM my favorite answer to any puzzle is not having the answer and just having the players do something until it's interesting.
Yeah.
The thing that I liked about like that room that had the hags in it was whenever Karen was up trying to push the gentleman dude, the night guy, out of the giant storm vortex, and she just saw them, and it was like, "Oh hey, how are you?
Yeah, that
Long
was
time no
funny.
see."
Yeah, the hags were quite murderous and stuff against us until we beat them once, and then they're like, we need to fight them.
So
Well, I mean, I killed one, and then she was brought back to life, and then I asked
Killed the
her
other
by
one.
proxy, killed another one.
so that character who was like frozen in time
Mhm.
was the leader of Valor's Call. I think I kind of
Ah.
implied that, but he's also a character from the D&D cartoon.
Oh,
His name is Strongheart.
That is such a D&D name.
Yeah. And I kind
Karen's fifth husband.
I kind of found that out later.
Wait, Strongheart as in his heart or as an elk?
I
It's
guess
actually more of a Care Bear name.
kind of both. He's both of them.
I rather liked the castle too, but I like that it was very fey and like just absolute nonsensical for where everything was. It seemed completely random for all the locations, but they didn't really go far enough or make it as convoluted as they could have been with traveling it. They probably with like all of those towers surrounding the central one that are just completely empty. Each one of them probably should have had like a mirror that would take you to a random part of the castle.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each
You
one of
have
those
to travel-
towers had one of those glowing orbs, and like none of you mess with them. But I think I said this.
Touching random rocks in a
Yeah,
castle.
random rocks. And, like I think I mentioned it before, but like Zablina actually took the Fey essence from a bunch of creatures,
Yeah.
to create Prismere, and she had these orbs here as kind of reminders of what she had to do to get power. So like one of them was like a hag, one of them was a fairy, one was like a blink dog.
She had to do stuff to 4 whole creatures.
Yeah.
The greater good.
But some of them were innocent, some were bad, but some of them were it's mind their own business.
I like the Resident Evil esqueness of like opening certain doors with certain labels on them.
Yeah, and I know people say like, "We have to backtrack a lot," but it's all theater of the mind. Like you can just say you do it. You don't have to physically like
Yeah.
walk down all the places.
I did like the butler, and I wish we had gained his trust because I
Yeah.
liked his character so much.
Yeah, technically he was the one that was supposed to tell you the secret of undoing the curse by speaking the name. But I saw the perfect opportunity where the hags just kind of blurted out by accident because they were so like they were so excited about getting the unicorn horn back. And like I could tell, it's like, hey, we can probably finish this up tonight if we don't like be really meticulous about what the book says, what you have to do.
I mean,
like where you
you're
get
the
what
DM,
information from where, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Thinnings, yeah, he was a lot of fun. I kind of was hoping he was in the castle earlier, so you would have met him. If I were to do it again, I might have put him in like cleaning one of the rooms. That was people were frozen in, like the guest rooms.
Yeah. Kids at home, remember if you want to change stuff around in an adventure, as long as it doesn't break anything or surprise anything, you can do it.
He could have also been following us, and like we'd have to do random perception checks to notice him peeking behind furniture.
Didn't Karen see him?
Yeah, that was that's how we ended up fighting him in the end.
Yeah,
was that?
Yeah,
but like whenever we were in the hallway, like it was like, oh, Karen. Like I remember you saying, like Karen, you think you see like a little shadow.
Yeah, because you rung like the butler bell, and that was the book says if you ring the bell, then 10 minutes later, things will come to investigate. But since you were in the hallway watching the stairway, then he got like kind of too nervous because they were like strangers.
10 minutes? Oh, did he have to like leave from the center area and he had to figure out how to leave from there, so it took him forever?
He had to avoid the jab. He's not very fast.
He's just a little guy.
He's a little guy.
He's just a little guy.
Yeah, like I like double checked this, and there was only 2 places where you can learn how to unfreeze the Blina, and one of them was from Thinnings, and I guess Charme knew he had to, like threaten it out of her, and I was like, is that really it? Like, what if they miss those things? So yeah, I think in this adventure it's good, and this is true in any pre-written thing. Like, if you have the opportunity to rearrange it to make it better for the game, then you should definitely do it.
I'd say make sure you fight the hags at the carnival.
Yeah, put them in there.
Yeah, from chapter 1. Why not?
You know?
So do you ever think there was going to be a reality where you just didn't fight the hags? Where, like, you just do their bargains and then you leave?
I mean, I didn't know what their thing would be based going into the adventure, but considering that the adventure is something that you don't have to fight, I thought that was a possibility. I was straight up ready to kidnap Will. And then the next game, as we're heading over there, I was literally going to come in as a character where like Kal'zi now has a determination look on his face and his mood has changed. And then the first thing we walk into Grandpa Redmare.
So that kind of discouraged you said.
That right? Was like I can't do this. That literally was what happened. I was going to do it after that little thing. I'm like, I can't do that. I got to do the right thing this time.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I will say that was like a really good characterization of Kal'zi that you did, where he, you know, like he was so demure, you know, to start, and then as soon as he got his he knew that hag had his legs, and he was like, I'm gonna get them back. I need to get them back. Like that was his whole thing, almost to the point where it blinded him, in some circumstances, which was neat, and then he got them back, and it was very much like, all right, we're gonna fucking do this.
That was kind of a really last minute thing too, like kind of like like the session before I was looking at the random encounters, I was like, oh, there's a Centaur encounter here, and I was like, it just makes too much sense that this is where Kal'zi was from, and like this Centaur got left behind when like the mist closed off Prismere, and he was like kind of left behind, and then I came up with the idea of how Kal'zi got to the carnival, because like, well, he's in the Feywild, like how did he get to the carnival? It's like, oh, there are these fairy rings that he likes to play around, and if you know how, by running winter shins, you can a teleport. So I kind of like the idea where he just kind of wandered off when his tribe were like leaving Prismere because of the hags, where he just
Yeah.
wandered into these fairy circles and got transported to the carnival like just in the middle of it. And since he didn't have a ticket, like for him it was Sopig. Like Sopig just would have like lured him into a dark corner of the carnival
Yeah.
and like just steal his centaur part. Like,
But yeah, that whole thing probably stopped me from kidnapping and or murdering Will.
yeah. And one thing, one thing like some of the subreddit was kind of mixed on is like, does Will have to be like a Oni? Like, can't he just be a kid? And I think it will work if Will was just a kid. But it's also kind of a nice twist if like you go through with the kidnapping plot, where like you're like, oh, he was actually a servant of the hag.
I like
It's
the idea of
fantastic
him
punishment.
yeah. I like the idea if you want to keep him a kid, have him just be a kid who's been there the longest.
Yeah.
And, that's obviously changed his outlook on things.
And one thing,
for
yeah, because I got this
darker Peter Pan sort of thing.
yeah, like I got this supplement that I used a little bit too, like suggesting ways to change, and they said it might be better for your story if you just have Will be an older kid, and not be like a monster, because that's kind of random. So
But I mean, it's a world where anything can happen.
yep,
I'm not too sure if that would have worked though, because I don't think anything actually ages in Prismere.
well,
all the wine sucks.
well, it did say that the kids don't age. It's like some of them have been there for years, but they're still like little kids.
Yeah, like
I-
Star.
Part
Yeah.
of me still wants to have cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter on that treehouse.
Just all the kids fall out.
Really, just for the chaos. If I was a horrible person, would have done it.
Yeah.
Kal'zi wasn't horrible.
No.
No,
Actually-
he stopped being that for before we got there.
Yeah.
The sea made him crazy.
I
Well, no, there
fell
was-
out of it. It was
He changed alignments for a short while when his legs were on the line.
yes.
It was a lot of
All
fun.
about the legs.
It was a lot of fun to have a hag coven battle. We'll say that.
Yeah. Until the one poisoned me.
Yeah, where we all almost died. That was a little
Yeah.
stressful.
I was just trying to run past them because for some reason, Joey, I'd say that's the one thing that was kind of got me, I wouldn't say upset, but I'm like, no, this is not rules as written. When we almost kill the hags, they're able to run 120 feet upstairs to their flying machine.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, well, that's okay.
I didn't really mean to do that.
No, it's fine because sometimes it's plot armor as well. And plus,
Yeah.
totally was able to kill one on the... Jess was able to kill one on the escape, which was kind of awesome, so...
Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. It's my crowning moment.
I guess maybe like I'm trying to think. I didn't really cheat.
No,
Well, I mean, it could have
it's
been like a
never cheap.
legendary action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
That's kind of my idea. It's like, yeah, they can dash and disengage at the same time. That's basically what I did.
Yeah.
Which,
They're
kind
all
of cheating.
powerful
They're rogues.
hags.
Yeah.
They're rogues.
It's like
Yeah.
we hit that cutscene in the
Yeah.
fight. We got enough health down.
Yeah,
And,
So goes the
exactly.
cutscene.
Should've
like-
gone to phase 2.
Yeah, so that was a good opportunity. It's like when I was thinking, it's like, hey, Scabs was flying away on her horse, which I mentioned was the unicorn.
Yeah,
the-
that was
Yeah.
a twist. I was not.
Yeah.
For some reason, I didn't put two and two together. I did not think of it at all.
And I was trying to think of places like to bring it up. I was like, no, they just have to run into it, but it just never really came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't really any foreshadowing until I tried to sit on it.
Yeah, so how far away is the hag? It's like, well, it's only been like a few seconds, so not too far away. Well, I have 120 reach in my bow. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And like she only had like 6 hit points left, so I was
Yeah.
like, okay, do an attack.
It was also just hilarious, like the mental imagery of her slumped over in this
Yeah.
rocking chair, arriving in Yawn.
Yeah,
There's a scene in Magnificent Seven, where one of the cowboys is shooting at a person escaping on the horse, and he shoots it, kills the guy, gets a perfect shot. The young cowboy's like, "That's an amazing shot." And he's like, "What are you talking about? It's horrible. I was aiming for the horse." That's what this essentially was.
Yeah, and I thought it would be fun if, like, yeah, what if Scab's just a corpse when she reunites with her sisters? And it's like, then, like, they revive her just a little bit, so she's just like, and then, like,
That was fun. Yeah.
and then kind of last minute, I was like, oh, what if they're using the lightning to try to, like, Frankenstein her back to life? And, like, and I made that part of the fight.
That was great because then I could use my storm effect indoors and get an extra 1d10 damage.
Oh, yeah, I love that max damage stuff you did.
Well, there's two things. I have one thing that lets me do max damage like 2 or 3 times a day, and then I have another thing that when there is a storm out, I get an extra 1d10 worth of damage from that continually attacking the spell.
I mean, I figured if the room's full of lightning, it would be kind of a dick move if I didn't let you, like, do the lightning.
At that point, I'm like, I'm so happy that Kal'zi's on our team.
Yeah.
When that happened, it was like 40. I'm like, woo!
Yeah, it's like,
I'm a cleric. No, I was a paladin. I'm sorry, paladin Tempest paladin.
no, you're
They're the same thing.
You're a cleric.
Yeah, you're a
I'm
storm
cleric.
cleric.
Wait,
Really useless in all
storm
that.
cleric, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
I was
kind of
just reading
Gray.
it the whole time. I don't even know what character did.
Yep. Like, didn't know your own class by the end because we didn't do combat.
Yeah, we didn't do a whole hell of a lot of combat. I remember initially too. I wanted to multi-class Aster into Bard because I felt like it fit him so well, but it just.
Aster did not have the patience to sit down and learn a new instrument.
He did though. He learned how to play a flute.
Yeah, not patiently though.
Well, no.
My
you're
favorite
right.
contribution to any battle was the only weapon that I started out with was a knife, and I threw it at one of the herring guns and fell in the water.
Yes.
I didn't have another weapon for the rest of the game.
You had not found a new thing, except for
that
your
potatoes?
potatoes.
Yeah, because I remember that. It's like, how about a knife? No, threw it away. Oh, yeah. Wait, you don't have a crossbow? Everyone has a crossbow. It's like, nope.
Bud is a master of taking the absolute minimum and then losing the absolute minimum.
It's like, first opportunity you got, you threw the knife into the lake.
Why would Gray go around carrying a crossbow? They're not expecting to go into a fight anywhere. He's going to a carnival.
It's dangerous. Dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Yeah. I had a travel
Imagine what you could have done to those frogs if you had a crossbow.
So one of my big fears in the game is that, like, Mark or someone would, like, just look up Zablina, or, it's like, oh, we're talking a lot about Tasha. I'm going to learn about Tasha on the wiki. And in, like, big bold letters, it would say, like, other aliases, Zablina, right underneath it.
Yeah, but I never did that.
You never did that. And if you would, I don't think you would have spoiled it for
I would
everyone
not have
else.
spoiled it.
But I kind of love that twist, because they kind of build up Tasha the entire adventure, even if you're not familiar with the character. And I wish they kind of went into the Igwil part of it a little more about how she was just not a good person. Or maybe, like, I should have, like, built that up a little more. Like Tasha's kind of like, oh, she's fun, she makes spells, you know. But Igwil, like, controlled armies of demons to, like, overthrow kingdoms on other worlds and stuff. So she was like,
Yeah.
Who among us?
yeah.
I mean, she literally had her demon prince boyfriend
Oh, yeah, they even had a kid.
calling on her.
Ex-boyfriend.
so-
Yeah, it's like,
ex-boyfriend,
yeah,
yeah.
the demon who was looking for her with those Sphinx people, was her lover basically, and they, like, had a kid together and everything, and
He needs to pay child support.
and the reason she made Prismere, was because she was getting so many enemies as Igwil that she just needed a place to hide, basically. So she found a corner of the Feywild with her sister's help, kind of transformed it into her own realm. And over years and years, she just started to transform into a Fey because she, like, literally hid the parts of herself she didn't like. And she kind of became an Archfey in that way and got patrons and all that stuff.
I think there's actually like lore and like little snippets of text within D&D stuff that like pretty much anybody that hangs around in the Feywild too long starts becoming a Fey.
Yeah, something like that. Especially someone as like powerful as her with magic.
Mhm.
But I just love that when he went into that room with the 3 jars, like the young, like Tasha, Igwilv, and or Tasha, Zablina, and the hag.
Yeah.
And then like you start remembering like the portraits with like Tasha in it, and you're like, it's like, oh wait a minute,
Wait
like
a
they're the
second.
same person.
And Gray in the background, like, doesn't prove anything.
Yeah,
That
the
doesn't
River
prove
of
anything.
Lies.
There's such a healthy amount of denial.
I am surprised though that with as often as Baba Yaga was named, she didn't show up somewhere. in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just that it's like the daughters of Baba Yaga is like, oh, they're
Yeah.
really powerful.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad too because she's probably like the like challenge rating 15 or something.
Yeah, I was actually looking up because I was curious too. It's like, let's say like there was a follow-up adventure where these characters like go after the hags and fight Baba Yaga, but she doesn't have like a 5e stat block. Like she's not in like any of the adventures, and I was kind of thinking like, well, maybe she's like almost like a deity.
Yeah,
Of, like,
a
the-
demigod or something.
Yeah, like that went to the Shadowfell and it's just really powerful. But apparently in earlier editions, she's a powerful hag, but like not necessarily like immortal or a deity
She
or
isn't
anything.
undefeatable, yeah.
Yeah,
She's probably on the same level as one of the heads of the courts in the Feywild, like Titania or something.
yeah, probably something that. Yeah, she's definitely really powerful, and she does live in the Feywild somewhere apparently.
Yeah, and people like that or deities and stuff like that. They haven't. They grew smart and decided not to stat any of them ever since 2nd edition, because the old rules that if they have stats, the players are going to want to kill them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Oh,
this
it's
is.
just-
I think
I
it was. I
remember
think it was the
my-
first adventure that Baba Yaga was ever mentioned in like 5th edition. I'm pretty sure.
No, I think she's in. I think they mention her in Purse of Strahd. I'm pretty sure, don't they? I don't remember.
We
Is
haven't played it.
Strahd
so
a
I don't know.
hag?
Well, I've played it.
Well, I
Strahd
happen to
hag?
know that there's a hag that's like Baba something,
Baba
but it's not Yaga.
Baba Baba?
Baba Booba Booba?
Baba Booey?
Baba Booey Babu?
It's not Baba Yaga, it's Yaga Baba.
Baby Yoda?
Hey, Baba.
Yeah, but I could see a world where the twist where Zablina was really Baba
Oh.
Yaga.
You're right. Curse of Strahd. Yeah, it's not Baba Yaga.
Yeah, but it's obviously meant to.
Lysaga or some lasagna or some.
Yeah, it's obviously like meant to be her because she has like the chicken foot
Yeah.
hut stuff. Yeah, but I can see a world where like Zablina ended up being Baba Yaga. If this was like an adventure where you're like killing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually what I thought that you were hinting at for the older version of what she was looking like. Because at that point, I'd completely forgotten about Igwibble.
Yeah. And I should have brought her up a little more. Because I kept referring them to like Tasha. Where the hags would probably know her more as. Well, actually the hags didn't like the Igwibble part of Tasha.
Yeah.
Like they thought like doing all this stuff with demons was actually like an abomination against the nature of the universe and all that stuff. And she but they were like jealous of Tasha because they were like mother's favorite, so but yeah, it's like I just like how those the jars, like the future one, it's like she has this constant reminder. It's like no matter how she changes herself, she's always destined to become this hag, because of her past. Like
You know, being a hag and whatnot.
yeah, it's like being
Past.
yeah, but like regardless how much she tries to hide it or change it, just that the deeds that she done and the powers that she used to become herself will just transform her into this like this crone when she's old, just like her mother and her sisters. It's like inescapable.
Not all corruption can be removed.
Yeah.
I remember the favorite thing that I've said in the whole campaign was when we finally got to Prismere. Like as soon as the thing started up, I was like, "Is this the wild beyond the Witchlight Carnival?"
Is this beyond Thunderdome?
Oh, we can never get beyond. Can we all just get beyond
I
Thunderdome?
don't think we'll ever be beyond Thunderdome.
Actually, I do have a question for you, Joey.
Yes.
And I guess this also goes toward Mark too.
Yeah.
How did you feel about having a love story thrust into your?
It was more like, how do I put this? So you know when you're like, there's a train coming at you, but that train's got like cotton candy on it. You're like, I can go for some cotton candy. I'd say that's the idiom, the analogy.
Well, one thing, and like I would obviously not have a problem with this, but I kept forgetting Aster was male, just because of your voice.
Wow.
But like I had to remind myself, oh yeah, I have a good old gay old love story in my game here. But you know, obviously, I don't have a problem with that. But I thought it was fun. I like the little flirting that kept going back and forth.
It was exceptionally good of the fact that the Kal'zi is an absolute dense as never noticed whatsoever of any of the flirting.
Kind of glad that I played like him, kind of very timid, because it rolled right into that. And...
I'd like to imagine that even now, 8 years later, Kal'zi never asked Aster, and Aster's just been waiting this whole time. And Kal'zi's like, "Man, Aster hangs out at my house like an awful lot."
Aster, you want to get pizza tonight? No, okay.
Is there anything else you want to get?
You want to adopt
it's the
another
anniversary.
Kid? It's like instead of
it's
marrying, it's like, will you marry me? It's like, do you want to adopt another kid?
You wanna? Yeah. I found another one.
But like the way the other character, like Ray, was like, it's like I'm not the only one who's seeing this, right? It's like, oh yeah, definitely, we're seeing this too.
I love how everybody was on the Calster train. It was so good, and it was just one of those things where like I never play a D&D game with the intention of like bringing romance into any of my characters, because you're just asking for heartbreak and devastation, right?
You don't want to be on RPG horror stories.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that too. Like I didn't.
It was so pathetic that it was.
Like I didn't want to make it weird or like make anybody uncomfortable. Which is why there were a couple times where like I dialed it back a bit just to like, you know, testing the waters, just seeing like, oh, maybe I don't know, maybe people aren't like.
Well,
I think I asked Mark too at one point. I was like, is this, you know, are you okay with this?
Like I was telling a friend, because she was saying like there's like romance in her game and all that stuff, and I was like, I don't know if I could really do that in my game, mostly because like I don't think most of the people like wouldn't do that, but in my games, but it's like it would just make me feel weird if I like you had this relationship going on in the background.
Well, also
like while I'm trying to do like my Feywild story, but in this case, like it was cute enough. It didn't get away with the story.
It was played for laughs.
Yeah, and but like if you started going to like really serious like
no.
stuff, I would have been like I don't know if this is right.
There's a time and a place. There's a time and it definitely started as one of those things where like Aster just felt like Kal'zi was so easy to pick on. Like he walked into it every time, you know, and it just, you know, played up on that, and then over time it was one of those, you know, because like everybody has that little part of their brain that they share with their character. You know what I mean? It's like, so you have your character's thoughts, whatever, and it was just the Aster's realization of, oh wait, actually,
it ran very much like a sitcom romance where like the nanny and whatever that person was she worked for, or Niles
Sheffield
from Frasier. And it's just it's a one-sided thing. It doesn't get brought up too often, and it's like a lost puppy following somebody kind of thing. It's not like you're stalking them or something. So it just enough humor and just enough straight man response from Kal'zi to make it funny. And plus, this is one of the few campaigns that actually had female players in it as well. So I could understand you not wanting like your brother-in-law to be hitting on Dustin.
I mean,
I mean,
you know,
you know,
you don't. You mean you don't kiss your homies? You don't say "I love you" to your homies?
Yeah, what is this? One thing I liked with the relationship is like how each character kind of responded to it. Like Karen would often be like, "Oh, could you two cut it out? We're trying to do something," and like stuff like that. Where another character would sometimes like pick it at another way.
One thing I'm kind of wondering about how we do Strixhaven, because there is kind of like a friendship meter with all the NPCs, and you know, they use the term beloved in the book, but all the players know it means like, who are you boning?
Oh shit! Hell yeah!
So like,
Oh,
I'm wondering, it's like,
it's gonna be great.
yeah. So I'm wondering, it's like, well, how far do I want to take all that stuff?
You just
It-
I mean, if you're not
it ha-
comfortable with it, you don't
yeah,
do it, right?
yeah, and like, how far, like, how much am I going to be flirting with my brother-in-law, like with these characters, you know, stuff like that.
Fade to black.
But like,
Yep.
you know, it's fun to like have fun with it. But like, I don't think we're going to go into like, you know, it's like, oh, you're the love of,
Excruciating.
yeah, you're the
No,
love of
no.
my life.
If you have it, it's like, hey, I think you're pretty cute, and
Yeah.
then you know you have your little.
It's like The
That's-
Sims. You each talk about how much you like dogs, and then you're dating. So to wrap things up a little bit, in the ending of the module, it suggests that Zablina, if you were nice enough to her, can actually use the magic of the Feywild and like its time warping properties to actually turn back the clock, make you all kids again, and kind of bring you back to the moment where you entered the carnival, but this time with a ticket in your hand. And I was a little, I guess, not a little surprised, but then not surprised at all that none of you wanted to take that route. You wanted to use the experiences that made you who you are and continue your life, not restart it and have questions about who you might become.
I feel like Aster. Sorry, Joy. I didn't mean to just jump in.
Yeah.
I feel like Aster was, in a way, almost expecting Kal'zi to, because you know, obviously, it seemed like something that was such a big deal to him, and knowing like, oh well, his family, you know, is important to him, and blah blah blah, whatever. So I feel like Aster. Sorry, Mark. I feel like Aster, in a way, was like, I'll count your loss, you know. I had fun while, you know, and like he was expecting it and he wouldn't have been mad at him. I, as a player, was 100% expecting Gray to be like, yes, please.
For my character, like with Kal'zi, he didn't miss the childhood, he missed his legs. He got his legs back, he's fine.
No, I know, but, you know.
I'm just saying, I'm clarifying.
Yeah, the idea would be like, you kind of end up in the same place that you were. It's just that, you know, now you can taste things.
You know, like Jumanji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Kal'zi didn't lose his legs, he would still be with his tribe, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like fate would kind of bring you to Aster in the end. I was thinking. I actually was going to, if you went down that path, and who knows about the logic of all this, but all of you kind of go back in time, you're all friends as kids going to the carnival together. So you would have been like hand in hand, like, you know, as like 11 or 8-year-olds.
Like that part in Final Fantasy VIII where it turns out everybody is from the same orphanage.
Oh, yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah, so I told Steph, like, oh, I have the perfect idea for like a group picture to celebrate the campaign. And like, I still might do this. Ask her to do this sometime. But like, I want all the characters as like 10 and 11-year-olds running up to the Witchlight Carnival with their tickets, and like we have like little Centaur Kal'zi, and Aster's kind of like give him a punch on the shoulder, like playful little punch, and like Pim, like little tiny halfling, kind of shy, like kind of in the corner, but like Karen's like this, and like Karen's like this bossy, like, you know, 8-year-old who
Thundera Karen.
yeah,
Yeah.
From Arthur.
yeah, kind of like that. And Ingray is just kind of moody, or like making funny faces with his like shape, like his changeling abilities, trying to make him laugh or something like that. And
Look at me, I'm you now.
so I still might do that, even though it didn't happen in the game.
Well, that is really cute.
Because it's pretty cute.
I would have liked it if Pimner ended up taking the deal, but her memory wasn't erased. So she just suddenly finds herself as like a 10-year-old kid with the ticket and stuff, and ends up like going somewhere away from the within the carnival from her kids, finds Aster and just wanders over and starts becoming friends with her with him all over again.
Yeah.
Aww.
I mean, that's what I kind of imagine. Like, I want to make clear that, like, you would kind of end up kind of in the same place, knowing each other. It's just that the things the hag took away from you wouldn't be there.
I remember talking to you about that, Joe. I'm like, who would be friends with Karen? Like, what? Who would?
Yeah. So it's like, why would Karen be hanging out with any of these?
Karen's the friend that like she thinks everybody loves her, like she's the favorite friend. So she just includes herself. Like, oh, you're having a birthday party? Oh, well, okay, I'll be there. And, you know.
You know, they can't get rid of her.
Yeah.
My presence is my present.
I'm obviously the glue holding this friend group together, so I guess I'll come to you at the carnival.
Mom, Dad, I'm so popular at school.
I am surprised that Pim didn't do that, because when like people started turning it down, I was like, well, Pim surely has to. It's been the one thing that she's been missing her entire life. But I was surprised that she went back to the carnival.
I also I said it after the thing. I didn't think about it while we were having the finale. But since she wouldn't let me curse Karen, my second option that I thought of was to take her monarch crown away.
Yeah, I was in chat as that final thing was happening.
I was surprised. Like, wow, Graves has turned to a jerk now that his patron's free.
No, me and we're talking in chat, being like, you can be like, do the dirtiest thing to Karen because she's been like belittling you. I think she specifically belittled Gray in front of Zablina.
There's a lot of like microaggressions and stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Campaign. It's been bottling up so much.
I think you picked on Aster and Gray the most.
Yeah, it was, and then trying to like build up Pim, I think was one thing. Yeah.
Now that we've got everything, I'm granted a wish. I can't let her get away with winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said before this, like I can't hear Discord sounds, so like I didn't see any of that. So
no, this was after the campaign.
We
were done about an hour later.
But yeah, I think overall, I think you guys enjoyed this adventure.
Yeah, very much so.
You know, 6 out of 10 maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no Dino World, but
Yeah. This is like just taking it as an adventure. This is definitely the favorite one I've run so far as a player or a DM. And just want to say, like, you guys like just made it a ton of fun, like to run. So
Yeah, this is probably the most open world one of their. Not only being able to go anywhere that we wanted, but also every single location and situation had multiple variations on how to handle everything as well.
Yeah.
All of the like entire boss battles that could be completely avoided.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I have one little criticism, and like I know the point of this adventure is like you don't have to do combat, but like if you do combat, like I think it would be very like I was saying before, like just take forever because like it's kind of designed for you not to do combat, so there's a lot of RP opportunities. So if you're doing a battle in every single one of those, like it could take like kind of wear down on you a little bit.
You've never done like a tier 3 or tier 4 games battle before, which can take forever.
Yeah.
It's a great battle, but it can take forever.
Yeah, I think level 13 has been the highest I've DM'd.
I'm not DM'd on. I've run I think 16 in Adventurers Leagues, and I think that's the highest I've ever been.
I think the worst you've had to handle is whenever anybody casts Conjure Animal.
Oh yeah. Well, I learned very quickly that it's my choice what they conjure, so no, you're not going to summon 16 wolves.
No?
It's like,
Should just summon it as a swarm of whatever.
A
Even if it's like
swarm
not a
of
swarm
wolves.
animal, swarm of wolves.
yeah. So yeah, like I had a great time running this. Hope you guys enjoyed
Yeah,
playing.
thank you for inviting me. I remember you had posted on Twitter. You were like, "Oh, I'm gonna start a new DM or start DMing a new campaign, whatever, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Well, hey, if you need a player," because I was really jonesing for some D&D.
Yeah.
At
No,
that
that's how I
moment.
got in.
Yeah, then Bun got in by doing that, and he stayed by being an awesome, bunny, wholesome person, and having so many games that he could share his compendium with on D&D.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had
I
known
fought
Joy
my way
before.
in.
I knew Joy beforehand. I played
No.
games with him. But yeah, it was just like, hey, well, if you need a player.
Yeah, so like in this game originally was gonna have like a different group, but just kind of ended up becoming the same one as Waterdeep and
+1.
yeah, well, and like Jess was in there, but I was like, it'd be weird if like Bun wasn't in here since we have everyone else. So it'd be like, or I guess Mark was there from the original, but it might have been Bun. But I was like,
And I'm here too.
yeah, Bun's here too, and yeah, so it ended up being the same group as Waterdeep. I think that definitely helped a lot too, since like, even though Jess was new, everyone else kind of had a dynamic with each other already, and that always helps.
Yeah, there was definitely no like awkward like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know these people.
Yeah, because I'm running the starter set game, and some of the people are new, don't know the group as well, and like you can definitely feel there's a difference between like a group of people who haven't met or interacted much, and then like a group like this.
I do really like that it was Jess / Aster that was best friends with Pimner, as opposed to Pimner's
Sam?
Yeah. If you were basically best friends with your sibling, there were actually times in which I kept forgetting that Jess was not your sister because you were so buddy with the characters and stuff.
It was like
Oh, yeah,
instant
Karen is
too.
your sister.
Yeah, I don't think Pim ever really talked to Karen because there just was literally no point.
Yeah, the characters are so different. Like, I think there was like a pep talk once about like how
Yeah.
to stand your ground.
Yeah, you're like,
Like, that was it.
yeah, but it's also like, it's funny because it's still a pep talk, but you're just essentially just telling somebody what to do is what, which I thought was like so good about it. I'm like, yeah, I guess like you are kind of, but it's more about you just telling somebody what to do, which was so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was fun.
one's a narcissist that never shuts up, and the other is soft-spoken. So, not very many conversations to go between those.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, like this group was, fun to play with, but also like the dynamics between the player and characters is like the best one I've had so far in a game, and that's why it's like just a lot of fun.
Don't worry, I won't tell your other groups though.
Oh, I let them know. It's like my other group.
You guys should be more like them.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, Strixhaven, with Jess, you're gonna be in that one.
Yay.
I hope it has a similar feel because I have a lot of people with a lot of personalities joining that one. So
Yeah. Well, you said Randy is going to be in that one too.
yeah, Randy.
He's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
yell. He's
Me and
going
Randy-
to yell.
Randy and I are going to be chaotic. I can almost guarantee
Well,
it.
you haven't played with Kevin yet, and Kevin is when he
I don't
gets
even
into it.
I've met Kevin.
Yeah, he's been kind of he's been in our podcast and stuff, but he's a little separated. But like he plays D&D with our other group, but he is like one of the most funniest people I know, and like I'm looking forward to see what he does. I mean,
Well,
I think he's gonna be in the game unless his plans change.
the Redmare legacy will carry on in my new character because I'm so dead. I had an idea for a character already, but man,
I think. Well, I mean, play what you like, but I think but it might be a fun way to connect the two.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a Centaur or a Satyr. It can be just one of the kids they adopted.
Maybe she's a Centaur Satyr.
Oh yeah.
A Centaur. A
Six
Santa.
legs. 6 legs.
6 legs.
6 legs. Slipnir.
Yeah, but
Ugh.
that was gonna be Jess, Dustin, Randy, my brother-in-law Bryce, and Kevin if he's free. So
Sweet.
it's gonna be.
If you don't accidentally leave him in New York City.
Kevin!
There you go.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, it took me a
I was
second.
trying to get it.
I think all of us were like,
I saw it coming, but I wanted to let someone else do it.
Well, it's not that he got left in New York City; it's that he got on the wrong plane.
That's true. And then he didn't go back because he had a credit card, and then Tim Curry was there.
Yeah, and he meant Donald Trump, and that was the thing that happened in that movie.
thank you for running the game, Joey.
Yes, thank
Thanks,
you.
Jess.
We're
Yeah,
good.
well,
That was
but-
awesome.
And I was gonna end about hashtag Open D&D, which I still think is good, but I think Blizzard is lost enough money where not Blizzard, Wizards.
Who is it?
What a slip of the tongue there. But like Wizard of the Coast lost enough money where they're like, maybe we shouldn't do this evil thing. And it looks like the Open Gaming license is, at least for 5e, is going to stay exactly the way it is.
Yay!
Great.
Thank you for having for being the highlight of 2022.
Oh, you think?
Well, there wasn't much competition.
Oh.
Hey, you had Spelljammer.
Yeah.
There wasn't much competition.
Wow.
Ooh. All right. So, yep. Thanks, everyone. And thanks if you listened to the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it.
But no thanks if you don't listen to the podcast.
If you don't listen, it's like, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
This is
This
content
is a
I'm making
podcast
for you.
Viewers like you.
Yes.
Well, not really, but
All right. Thanks, everyone. And see you for the next game, whether it's the next one or one in the future.
Yeah.
Yay.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Goodbye.
And see you.
And get out of here.